All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to CoalitionM. This is your host, Carson Lopez. I have some lovely guests with me tonight who are involved in the Campus Club Black Student Union, or BSU for short. We're still waiting on a couple people to come back just real quick. But those of us who are here, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell us a little about each of you.
Hi, I'm Tequila Bowles. I'm the president of the Black Student Union. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a junior here. My major is nursing. I want to be a traveling nurse.
A traveling nurse?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I know, it's pretty rare. They're like, okay, you can be a nurse. And I'm like, I want to travel. And they're like, oh, they have traveling nurses. And they like pretty much pay for it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, got in. That's pretty awesome. How'd you get the idea to be that? Where'd you hear of that?
Well, when I was younger, my dad was in the hospital a lot, so I would talk to a lot of nurses, and a lot of nurses would be like, I'm not even from here, and I'd be like, where are you from? And I'd be like, a whole different state, and they'd just be like, I'm a traveling nurse, I can only stay here for about a month or 3,
Wow.
and then move. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. What about you, Mello?
I'm a junior. I'm from Florida, Sarasota. I'm on the football team. Right now we're 9-0, putting on for Hayes. It just being really not having picked my studies so far, but I'm leaning towards media studies.
As of tonight.
Just trying to broader my resources in life.
Great.
My name is Lindell Sherry. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. Yeah,
Right on.
Okay.
Same.
Hey. I am studying biology into pre-med, obviously.
Nice.
And I am a junior, gonna be in school forever, so I don't really have much to say beyond that.
Okay. Very long journey ahead of you so far.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Aaron. What about you?
Hello, I'm Aaron Simpson. I am a grad student. My first degree was in information networking and telecommunications, and my second one is in pre-law. And I'm happy to be here, Carson. Thank you for the invite.
Good. I'm happy that you are happy to be here, and I'm happy to have all of you. So I brought you guys in here today just to ask you a couple questions about what's important to you as just regular people, as students. Feel free to be as honest with me as possible, and I will do the same. First question up for tonight would be just some questions about BSU in general. What good do you guys think that your club does for the community, for campus, or for you?
For me, Black Student Union, well, me as president, I would like to make Black Student Union be more like family oriented, because sometimes us as African American students, we come to a small town, and sometimes we feel like for us to stick out that we have to compete against each other. So there's so much like hate for no reason when we can all just stick together as one big family and conquer a lot more. So yeah, I want it to be like more family, and like I feel like if you can have a club that makes you feel like you're not alone in like such a small town. So
When you say that you kind of compete against each other, like what does that look like?
It's more of like there's not that many of us, so for me to be seen, I need to compete against you, so I can be like
You have to be better
Like
than the
academically,
next. Yeah.
all of that.
everything.
Interesting. Okay. What about you guys? Why is BSU important to you? What does it do for you or the community?
I kind of want to like piggyback off what Tequila said. Like, it definitely is a space for me to be myself. Being that we do go to PWI, we see less of each other. So I like that it is a space for us to be ourselves and, not have to be different or nothing like that. Coming from a bigger city, it is different, and it is a different experience for a lot of us, I'm sure. So that's my thoughts on it.
For sure. What do you gentlemen think about that? About what they've said so far? Is that true?
It's true. It's just us has like coming from everywhere, not knowing each other, so like it's easy to fall victim of I don't know them already, so I'm not gonna like them. So it's not having like, oh, I don't want to get to know you. It's just like it's so much. I got so much going on. You got so much going on. I don't mess with you anyway, so why should I like you? But I feel like we should come more as a family, and because it's very few of us up here as it is, so it's better off just to come together and we take everybody. You don't have to be black, or it could be anybody. Just want a friend or anything. It's just want somebody to talk to.
Do you come from a small town in Florida?
No, our population is like triple this.
Got you. So this is kind of a shock for you?
Yeah, like my high school, like it was like barely any like Caucasian people there. Like probably
Really?
like 2 or 3.
Wow.
At my high school, like, cause,
And
like,
then you come here and it's
then you
the
come
opposite.
here, it's opposite.
Wow.
Like, just jump in like
Yeah.
I'm like
Different.
a black bean in the rice.
What do you think, Aaron?
They hit the nails on the tag for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just feel the same way. So, is it just like a general feeling of like I can't really find anybody I identify with, or do you guys feel like people kind of push you out
I
of
feel
their
like
groups?
it's both, you know.
Both?
Yeah, because like, you know, if I'm gonna come to like a all white place, like I'm gonna gravitate towards somebody that's gonna look like me,
Right.
More or less, you know. what I'm
Everybody
saying?
does that,
of
of
course.
course.
You know, birds of the same feather flock
Yeah,
together.
of course.
Whatever. So like, I don't know. I'm thinking like, if I'm gonna have a space or be somewhere for 4 years, 3 years, whatever, I want somewhere where I can be comfortable, where I don't have to worry about, because like at the end of the day, I could like go up to like a white person, we can be friends, we can dap it up, whatever, cool, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna feel comfortable around, you know, them or other people, because we somewhat follow the same experience, or we're gonna experience the same thing. Even like going from on campus to even off campus, we're gonna experience like those things that a white person or non, you know, person of color may not understand.
I feel like in Hayes you have to have a mindset as African American. You have to have a mindset with everything. Like you have to have a mindset knowing that you're gonna stand out, and you might not have friends, or you might. It's like what you make of it. But at the same time, it's gonna be hard to get where you want to get. It's like you're gonna have to push yourself. You're gonna have to have a mindset. Like if I go into a store, then I know a lot of people are gonna look at me different because I'm in color. If I go to hang out with this group of friends, I gotta know that they don't know where I'm coming from, so I gotta match their intelligence at that given moment, because they might say something about me that they don't know may offend me or anything like that. So you always have to have a mindset of like who you're around in Hayes and like where you go and what you do. So I feel like it's not more of being pushed out, but it's more of like having knowledge about where you're at.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting that you bring that up. I have a friend, Uriel, who is Mexican, and he works at Home Depot. And he told me the other day that sometimes customers who come in will look at him and then go into the other lane and actually not. And I was shocked for some reason that happens in real life, you know, because that's not something that I am confronted with. Even though I am Hispanic, it's not. I don't know. I guess I don't look Hispanic enough or something. But I'm not. People don't avoid me. I've never noticed that, you know. And so that's.
Right. And I mean,
do you guys
like,
experience kind of the similar thing?
somewhat, like, you know, like she said, you do have to be aware of your surroundings. Like, I'm not in Wichita, you know, I can go into the store and I'm
Right,
cool. Like,
yeah.
nobody's going to worry about me. People going to smile in my face. But here, you know, people see less of that, you know, small town, small minds, whatever. So they're going to be more or less, like, looking at me like, I don't know. What I see in all the news, like, you might be on some weird stuff, so I'm just gonna keep watching you,
Jeez.
okay? Like, I'll go to the Dollar General. I hate going to that Dollar General because, like, they mad stare at me, and I'll just be sitting here like,
Really?
I'm just trying to buy stuff. Like, you don't have to look at me. I promise I'm not gonna take nothing from you.
I have had instances at Dillon's where the person before me, the cashier, will, how is your day going? And this is the small Dillon's. They help them put their things from their cart onto the thing to scan. And when it comes to me, no conversation, no eye contact, just looking at the stuff. And
Interesting.
This day, I remember I was dressed in church because I just left for church. I was getting something for another organization on campus. And I'm thinking, what would his excuse be to not at least say hello? And then he said that'll be this. And he took my card in. After I left, he didn't help me sack any of my groceries. As soon as I left, the next person said, "How are you doing today?" And I'm thinking,
That
no,
is
even
blatant. Wow.
extremely blatant.
Not even trying to hide it. Not even
Not
trying
at
to be
all.
polite. Nothing. Wow.
Not at all.
That. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be so surprised that happens, especially in Hayes, where white people just aren't exposed to people who are different. And I guess that's the deal with any small town.
And I feel like that's probably like one of the bad things that Hayes has is like I would call it a cover up. Like if I were to ask like American like when we walk into stores, do you think that we get looks? And if they were to say no, then they don't understand where we come from. But at the same time, like I feel like they cover it up. Like it's like oh they're here, but at the same time I don't want them to be here type of thing. Like we already get that presence, but it's more of a cover up. So we're gonna just smile in your face when we see you.
Like
Hi,
you
how
can
are
tell
you
that
doing?
they're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
Da, da, da. But I'm like, you're not comfortable with me. Like, look, you're standing like stiff as
Like,
a
are you
rug.
saying hi to make sure that I don't do nothing to you, or are you saying hi because you truly want to get to know me?
Literally, that
Like,
hard.
you never know. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's Hayes.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like people either won't really reach out to you in public, or when they do, you feel like it's not very genuine. Where do you think that comes from? I mean, I think some people would say it's like not everybody is just waiting to do something. Some of them are just come from a place that's just they don't understand. Where do you guys think that it comes from?
I think a place of ignorance, most definitely.
It comes from the home. Like,
Yeah, it comes
just for the very fact that Hayes is a really small town, you know what I'm saying? The fact that you, like, if you're living in Hayes and you're just staying in Hayes, I mean, if that was your choice, okay, that's your choice. But there are so many other options for you to broaden your interests, to open your mind to so many different things. If you don't want to come out of Hayes because you're scared, I've heard stories, like, when I was working at Wendy's last year, there was a customer that he was from here, but he went to Wichita a lot, and he would always tell me that people in Hayes thought, like, Wichita was this horrible place, like people shooting up here, gang.
Like it was the south side
Like
of
it was Chicago. I'm like, look, listen, I've been to Chicago all the time when I was younger. Wichita is no comparison, like nothing. Like Wichita might as well be a Hayes in Chicago. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So that's on you. Like okay, yes, stepping out, taking risks, it's scary, but that makes you so much stronger as a person. That makes you smarter as a person because you're able to see beyond that. Oh, there's something beyond, the small bubble, this safe space that I have here. So if you're going to come up and talk to me, yeah, it's scary because you don't see someone as dark as me. The darkest person is somebody that's your skin color that you've seen in your high school or whatever, and that's what you feel comfortable. Come up to me and get ready to learn something. Don't just sit here like
all
stopped
tense.
up. Yeah, exactly, that part.
Yeah. So we kind of already touched on, why you guys feel the need to be involved in BSU. So you kind of want to maybe change the image of just BSU or just African American students in general. Just kind of be like, look, we're just students. Is that kind of where you're coming from on that?
Yeah, and like as a college student, like people don't understand, like you go through a lot of stuff, and to not have somebody in Hayes and going through something, whether it's school, whether it's financially, like it's hard to go or even live in Hayes, go to school and not have something. So if you have Black students, you have a group of friends, you have somebody you can call, even when it's not a student, like we can hang out outside of meetings. Like it's not just about something that we see each other every Thursday, and then it's never talk again. It's if it's Friday, hey, are you doing anything? No, but you can come over and hang out. Like it's like if you need a friend, like I'm here, type of thing. So I want it to be more family, more where everybody can come in together.
Would you say that the people are pretty accepting, pretty open-minded types of people?
Yeah, and I feel like we have a good group starting off. Like everyone is trying to work together. We have a big event coming up in Texas next semester, so I feel like everyone is working together to try to get there.
So how would you reach people who are not as open-minded, who are not necessarily just blatantly, kind of like the people you were describing who you see in public, who just flat out won't even look you in the eye? but just people who don't feel like, I've heard people say, well, I'm not black, so I can't go, or well, I'm black, but I don't feel like a struggle, so I'm fine, so like I don't need to go. How do you kind of reach out to those people and say, look,
Even if you're not black, you can always help the black community. Like you always hear people say like, "Oh, I can use my color to advantage." I feel like anybody can help anyone, whether your no matter what color you are, no matter what age you are. Like you can always help, whether you're a black student or not. Like anything, like coming to fundraisers or anything. Like you're just helping, even if we're black and we feel like we're going through a struggle. But you're white and you can help us, like we can just use you to advantage, and
just for
even,
support.
Yeah, just knowing that you're there, like even if you don't feel our struggle, we even know that you're there just to help us at the end of the day.
Sure. Yeah. You guys agree with that? What would you say about that?
I'll say this. You have to have some sort of want. Because I remember my either freshman or sophomore year, I was having the same conversation with my mother. And she let me realize, you have to realize, for a lot of people, Hayes is the most diverse experience they're ever going to have in their life. And
that's sad.
It's not necessarily, it's sad, but it's not literally the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of people here. I remember the exact conversation now. But it's a lot of people here who, Hayes is the largest town, is the most diverse town. Mm-hmm. It's not that they are intentionally, I say racist or racially prejudiced. They just have no exposure, and their purpose in college was not to get exposure. Their purpose in coming to Hayes was to get a degree. And in reaching out to other people, you can of course say, be the first one to say, hey, come to this, come to that. But it has to be something on their side wanting to do that. You cannot force people. I try to entice people. I've tried everything. There has to be some sort of effort on their end. You can't do 100%, even 90%. There has to be some little, okay, well, I'll consider it. Well, maybe I'll do something. Something has to come from their end.
So you're saying, there has to be, they have to kind of reach out their half of the way.
Oh, they at least accept your invitation.
Right, yeah. So there has to be like that curiosity, like,
yes, what's
going on over here? What do I not know about people who aren't like me? That kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, and like, it's not like, you don't necessarily get an incentive out of it. That's probably where people's mindset is at, especially if they're not, a person of color or even a minority at that. Like, you don't get no incentive. Everything is already at your advantage. So what do I get out of, coming to certain events like Halo or African Ambassadors or BSU or stuff like that? That for me would be your moral compass. And again, you wanting to broaden your interests, you wanting to step out and be like, okay, well, I've been in this small town, or, I'm coming from an even smaller town than Hayes, and I'm coming here. You know what? This is an opportunity. And like, if you're saying that this is the most diverse place for you, like, make it worth your while. Do step to people that you see that are coming from a whole nother continent, talk to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, get to know them. And that's on you. If you don't want to do that, that's your own fault. If people sit here mad at you and you're sitting here, what did I do, bro? Get out of here, bro.
So as students or just as people, what current issues are important to you, socially, policy-wise, economically, politically? What do you guys spend your time thinking about?
Life after college.
College life?
Yeah, graduate and everything after that. Like, I feel like there's, like, your life and then the life outside of your life, like, which, like, the government and everything like that. But, like, you gotta live to the fullest. Like, you only get one life. So, be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
While you can.
Do you worry about student loans at all? Is that like a...
I can't. If I worried about loans and go to college at the same time, I wouldn't be doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't at the moment. I just gotta get where I gotta get.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Absolutely. Was that, did you ever pay attention or care about all that stuff that was happening with the elections last year? Did you notice any of that stuff?
Yeah, it's a big eye-opener. You really see, like, what type of world you live in today, and that makes you want to work even harder for a degree to have something on you, something that nobody can take away. Education.
What do you mean by that?
Well, once you have something in your mind, nobody can take that away from you. It's not a handbook. It's not a piece of paper somebody can rip up. It's something embedded in you for life. So education is something that's going to follow you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So you can get it while you can.
So why do you feel like you need something like that? What did you see when your eyes were opened?
It's more like what people around me believe in. Like I can be sitting next to somebody who don't believe in the same thing I can do. Like when it came to presidency, you see who a lot of people voted for, and we're in Kansas, so I can be going to the Walmart every day, and I could be walking next to somebody who don't believe the same thing I believe in, or don't believe that I should even be here. Like, you never even know. So if I'm having an education, you can say that you don't like me or you don't want me here, but I'm always having an education, and that's going to always be power for me on my side no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. What about you guys? What's important to you?
I say what's important to me in life is more on being a positive role model, I could say.
You play football now?
Yeah, I played football for 4 years, right guard. So like it's like more like on my hand, like you have to like lead by example, because one slip up is like that you can make the news, you know. On anything, any term. It could be easy to have like a DUI, anything, and that could play a big role in like your like scholarship and into like your playing time on the field, like all types of stuff like that can play. Like you can get like kicked out of school just for that. So it's being more as a role model and like just trying to lead by example more than anything, because easy you can get it, easy it can be gone, you know. And that's for anybody in the world. Like one day you here, one day you gone, like, and it's like the generation like set up like it's always gonna be hatred. It's always like think about it, like everybody that came here back then, like that fled on from England and everything to get new land, running away from like their government to get new land. So it's always been hatred everywhere. So it's just like a melting pot in USA, like, because everybody came from everywhere. It's just like nobody, I'm American. No, you from somewhere else, but you came here. Like, everybody's like that. But it just, some people just feel like just because their ancestors had land, they're from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's true, yeah, that's your land. Yeah, you got that, but you ain't make it. Like, it's not yours. So it's just a lot of.
Do you hear that a lot? Do you hear people saying all the time, go back to where you came from?
Which is stupid because
they say that to you?
I never heard that.
What do they even mean by that?
Exactly. Like, what do you mean? First off, if you really want to get into it, this wasn't your land to begin with.
Right.
It was the Native Americans' lands. Your people did come here, slaughter, rape, did all that type of stuff. As much as you don't, this didn't happen, and they want to hide it. Like, nah, this is yours. But yeah, that's stupid. But my thing about like what's important to me is definitely just like the advancement and investing within my own community. And when I say my own community, I'm talking about like the Black community. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, your education, that knowledge is power. What you do with that knowledge can, be helpful in so many ways, and it's like the domino effect in having your knowledge. Where was I going with this?
It's okay. Take your time.
So my thing is what's very important to me is, like I said, just the investment into my own community. And also just me and myself, I am Haitian Americans, and I am a first generation millennial. So it's a different experience for me. So what I want to take away from learning, getting my degrees, getting my education, and moving up in life is giving back to the community at home, as well as giving back to the Black experience here. To let people know that you can be more than, an entertainer. You can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can do whatever you put your mind to, regardless of what society tries to feed down to you subliminally or covertly, overtly, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just really important to start off, like what he said, like being a positive role model, being a strong, role model, and rolling with it, having people to look up to you and say, I want to be just like him, I want to be just like her. Like, I have too many people saying that I couldn't do it, and look at where I am now.
Yeah.
And
Who do you guys look up to? Just curious.
I look up to Obama.
You look up to Obama.
I look up to Obama.
Who do you guys look up to? It's kind of a loaded question. Take your time thinking about it.
If it came to me, I would say I look up to my dad because to have somebody in your life who can say, like, you can tell them, like, like you messed up, and they still, like, know what you're going through and not judge you. Like, I feel like it takes for someone to hear everything, your whole story, and not judge you. I feel like that's somebody that's, like, really powerful, or somebody who always got, like, something. But, like, my dad's role model is God, so I feel like anybody who follows God at the same time is always a good role model, no matter what.
I love God, too. I love God, too. And my mama. I love my mama.
Yeah. Who are you guys' role models?
I definitely look up to my mom just for the fact that her coming from Haiti, she was a refugee. So, she.
You still have family in Haiti?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
My dad's from the Dominican. Hey.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, my mom for sure. Just because she did come here as a refugee, she did come from nothing, and she built up. She's coming to a country where she doesn't know the language at all. People are already, looking at her like she's dumb because she can't speak English that well. And she comes up, she's rising above, and she's done a lot more than people that have resources here in America, stuff that she didn't have back in Haiti. She's done so much more, and she was able to give a life that she wanted for herself to her kids, me and my brother. So I definitely look up to her for that, and I want to be like her and be a role model in that sense where you can come up from nothing for sure.
Yeah. Good. Is your brother younger than you?
Yeah, he's a senior in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go Southeast Buffalo.
What about you, Aaron? Who do you look up to? He rolled his eyes at her.
So, my grandmother,
Your grandma?
hands down.
Hands down.
But I want to answer the question.
Yeah,
that
of
you
course.
asked
What's important to
before.
you?
So, what's important to me is being the change that you want to see.
Yeah. Very
Because
nice.
one of the things that we can do is we can always talk about the change we want to see, and we can talk about this, that, or the other. But but unless you actually work and be the change you want to see, nothing will get changed.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, sometimes you have to be in uncomfortable situations where you are the only one who looks like you. Some of the things that I've personally done to do that was NRHH, recently Student Government Association, because you have a voice, and a lot of people, what I figured out, a lot of people's issue is,
Go ahead.
or a lot of people's issue is they do not know who to go to state their information, or they're intimidated by going to, I don't know, a certain office on campus or anything. So being that listening ear that people can go to, I think is important.
Yeah,
and being the change
definitely.
that you want to see, because like I said, I could complain till I have a sore throat. But if I don't do anything about it, then what good is all that I have to say?
So what is it that you'd like to change? What is the change that you'd like to see?
Well, my first SHA meeting is going to be on Thursday. But one of the things I want to do is to be a voice for those who are underrepresented, whether I have the same opinion as them or not. So one who they can go to if they see different issues that are happening. In the case of funding for different organizations, especially when it comes to appropriations money, helping them walk through the process so they just don't get this big packet and they don't know what this says and stuff like that. how they can say, this is what I need money for, this is why I need money for, this is what I
That's
plan
right.
on
You're
doing.
you're going into pre-law, huh?
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. You want to represent people who are kind of marginalized, kind of don't receive the same treatment as others as far as what does this document say, things like that.
Not
Just basic stuff.
Not just people who don't feel the same, not just people who don't get the same treatment, but those who definitely have access to it, but don't know the avenues to receive that information.
Oh, okay. So education's kind of a goal of yours as well.
Yes, it is.
Or at least access to
Yes,
education.
access to education.
Sure. Okay.
And as I learn, I have to meet tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning to get my big packet.
All
But
right.
as I learn, I'll be able to help others. So things will be able to go a lot more smoothly for everyone, not just for organizations that I'm a part of.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think the general consensus of this society, well, let's say just America's reaction to things like BLM, Black Lives Matter, and what do you guys think about Black Lives Matter? You can answer. You don't have to answer that in that order. What do you think about Black Lives Matter?
I think, of course, Black lives do matter. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people who I have talked to, they're confused because they see a couple of the riots, knowing that a lot of people's purpose is not to riot. I am vehemently against messing up other people's property for the sake of trying to get a political stance. It doesn't do anything for your community. I'm thinking about the Freddie Gray in Baltimore case. So yes, he did not receive the proper medical care that he was supposed to get and died because of that. Messing up your neighborhood store, this is what it does. So one, the CVS was one of the main stores that was messed up. So, not just is Freddie Gray dead, but the CVS is messed up. CVS is a chain. CVS sees that as a liability. They don't want to go back into your neighborhood and be a local pharmacy because they don't know the next time they're going to get burned down or looted. So now your community is
I
out
didn't
of
think
resources.
of it like that.
So now your community is out of resources. Freddie Gray is still dead, and nothing has changed because of it.
But at the same time, CVS is touched. They just trying to touch somebody who owns something, that knows somebody who did something, because it's all a chain. Like, at the same time, I understand where people come from, but at the same time, like, you don't have the right to mess up somebody else's stuff because you're mad. But also, as African Americans, we gonna do whatever we need to do to make sure our voice is heard. And sometimes that's not always the right thing to do, but sometimes people step out and do take those risks.
To what extent, though?
So what does it solve? So that's the CVS. Let's talk about the local mom and pop restaurant that's 2 doors down from there. So they employed a couple of kids after high school. I don't know, maybe a parent or a grandmother taking care of their family. So now, not just all that, but they're out of jobs, and the bank that they receive funding from, their loan, they see them as a liability, and they don't want to reinvest back into them because they might get looted, and
It's a
that's
liability.
yes,
like you
it's a
said.
liability issue. So that's one thing. So I said all that to say that that's what a lot of people are seeing, but that is not 99% of what Black Lives Matter is for. A good portion of it is for people to say that Black Lives Matter as well. We're not saying that Black Lives matter more. We're not saying they matter less.
Right.
We're just saying they matter as well. I am not going to go to a breast cancer walk and say, you know what, you
Thank
guys are
you.
hypocrites.
Exactly.
I have my grandpa died of lymphoma. I'm not going to say, you know what, why don't we have a lymphoma walk? Because my grandpa died
Yeah.
of lymphoma. Nope, this is not the time nor the space for that.
That's what I
Breast
was gonna
cancer
say.
is the issue that is at large. So this is what we're discussing at this time.
I feel like I definitely agree with what he's saying. Like, a lot of people, I don't know if they're like purposely misconstruing what
I think some people are, but not everybody.
Not everybody, but some people are definitely misconstruing by saying white lives matter. White lives always matter. So I'm gonna put that out there now. Don't at me.
Go ahead.
But like, I think an important thing, I think the reason why a lot of people do misconstrue what Black Lives Matters is just to shut down the voice of Black people. You know what I'm saying? We're out here saying, okay, we want the same equal representation. If you're saying that if Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, then you need to, you know, trial the people that are murdering people, that are sitting in their car doing everything in their power just to stay alive, and an officer still shoots you. Like, that's crazy. But then you want to sit here and tell me, no, it doesn't exist, and white lives matters too. White lives have always mattered. We're trying to let you know that our lives matter too, and we have just as much as a human right to be here just as you do. And you trying to sit here and shut me down by saying white lives matter, blue lives matter, purple lives. I don't care about that. That's not the time and space, like he said. I'm trying to let you know I want my voice to be heard, and I think that's what a lot of people do, is that they're just trying to shut down Black voices. They don't want to hear, you know, us mobilize together and come together peacefully and say, hey, we want you to hear this. We want you to understand, like, we have our rights, respect our rights like we respected yours. The same way that, you know, if that had been a white person and that would have been all over the news, if that was a Black cop killing a white person, you need to do the same thing if the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, one thing that I find interesting is when people say Black Lives Matter. This is what I see. This is how I interpret it. There is no reason that an African American who is selling CDs illegally, even if it is illegally, should be killed
Right.
and be held down by cops. I do not see why a legal gun owner is killed on Facebook Live, and we try to find a reason to justify his death. I do not see why an 18-year-old who's about to enter college is walking down his street and an officer profiles him for jaywalking, who gets him for jaywalking at first, ends up killing him, and then tries to tie it to something that wasn't even associated to him. Come to find out, it was just another Black man at a convenience store. He didn't even steal the Rillos. That wasn't even connected to that case.
Yeah.
I don't see how someone who is selling cigarettes illegally is literally saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe while being forced down by police officers to his death. And on top of all that, them not even getting indicted, which for me is worse than not guilty. Not guilty, that means, so there are some misconstruing facts from both sides, but we found out that overall you were innocent and not worthy of anything. No indictment is almost like they were lawfully right in everything that they did, that we're not going to even accuse you of doing anything wrong. So that's one of the main reasons that people are saying Black Lives Matter. But when you mentioned White Lives Matter, something interesting is the producer Harvey Weinstein. This is a very interesting case. So he is he was removed from the academy for his sexual assault of women, and it's almost like, so now you know what it feels like, because people are talking about how Bill Cosby is still on the board, and he's the only other, I believe, African American who they mentioned. Like, Bill Cosby's still there. It's interesting how the tables are turned now, how Bill Cosby's still there, but Harvey Weinstein has been removed. So I just see that as, so now you know how it feels when you say White Lives Matter? So now do you understand a little bit why people say Black Lives Matter now? Does it ring a bell to you? It has to resonate in you some sort of way.
Yeah, there seems to be a huge discrepancy of the way people justify things like police brutality. I remember when what was his name, was Trayvon Martin, right? The George Zimmerman case. And I was in high school, and one of the women I was talking to said, I think that this was about him, or I might be mixing a couple of cases up, where somebody had run away from the police officer and he had been shot down. And she said, well, he shouldn't, Mike Brown, that's right. And she said, well, he shouldn't have run from the cops. I'm like, I'm not sure that deserves the death sentence. And then we saw somebody had recorded another black man running away from a police officer who just stood there and shot him. Like, he could have outrun him even. I mean, he was not running very fast, and he just shot him down. And people are, well, he shouldn't have run from the cops. And it's like, under no circumstances would that have been allowed any other way, you know, whether it was, you know, police officers don't stand there and shoot kids as they're running away because they're kids and kids are going to run away. You know, if someone were to shoot them, you know, that is just a gross overreaction. And I was just so surprised to see people say, well, shouldn't run from cops, you know. So does this mean that I should be scared for my life every time a police officer walks up to me, you know, like.
Right. I think this is a case where people don't take it serious unless it happens to them or somebody in their family.
Yeah,
say like
definitely.
It's a white family, and down the line, if somebody marries into somebody in a black family, your niece gets y'all old, then you all for Black Lives Matter. But nobody's really gonna have an eye opener until it hits them.
Yeah, definitely.
My mom said the exact same thing. It's going to be some white man's biracial grandson, and that's going to be what does it. That's going to be what does it.
No, it's funny, but you're right. I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's true. It's,
It is.
No, that's not going to matter until somebody who has more power is suddenly worried about it, you know.
It's crazy.
But I lost what I was going to say. But do you guys see? I see a lot also you know, well, if you're trying to stand up for these victims, then you must be anti-cop. And it's like, I think those are the people who are just deliberately trying to make it an us versus them when it does not have to
Make
be.
my blood boil.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, it's just like, you don't want to see it. You don't. Like, you're trying to justify every single reason so a person has to die, but you don't want to see it.
Illiterate.
This is something that I don't realize because I'm not white and I'm not an older person as well.
Mm-hmm.
That every police officer is not the friendly neighborhood police officer who makes sure kids get home in time from Leave It to Beaver. That is not the case. I think for a lot of people, the fact that someone in power, such as a police officer, could not do something right.
Can we break it down? Sorry, hold on. I just thought of something. Like, okay, let's really break it down though. What is the police officer scared of, really? You know what I'm saying? This police officer has tasers, guns, a baton, all the resources. Sorry, they have all the resources.
You beat him to it. You stole his thunder.
I had to, but like, you know,
that's okay, Aaron. You'll get another one.
Sorry, Aaron. But like, my thing is, it's like, literally, you have all the weapons at your disposal, you know, and on top of that, training at your disposal as opposed to an unarmed, you know, black person. What are you scared of, dude? Like, for real, what's the deal? You're telling me that your physical behind couldn't chase after the guy, you know, put a knee to him and be like, oh, you're under arrested, take him through the spill and da-da-da. No, you had to shoot him. I mean, what really comes down to it is what's your mindset when you're going up to a person that doesn't look like you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, is if Lady Justice is supposed to be blind and is supposed to be for everybody, then you have to be for everybody. You have to do the same procedures that you would do to a white person, and do it the same for a black person.
But this is nothing new. We just got cameras now. Like, this stuff been happening. We just got cameras. Like, it's just something that's just been exposed. Like, it's not something that just happened. Like, oh man, like he just got, like, no, like it's been happening. There's so many cases on this. But now we got phones. Now we got technology. Like, now everybody's seeing this real.
That's true.
But that's the worst part, where people can see that black people go through things and still not believe that everyone is.
They want to deny the existence.
They say everybody's equal, but you're not really.
Like I said, for a lot of these people, they have a hard time understanding that a police officer, someone in power, can do something wrong. Everyone is not your neighborhood sheriff who checks the town once a week and picks up, I don't know, the kid who's just drunk out all the time. This is not that case. There are people, whether inherently or not, who do not have good in them, or possibly a good cop who makes a bad decision and should suffer the consequences for their actions.
Yeah.
Hold them accountable for it. Like when you're constantly trying to, oh, so what did the kid do? Okay, we're gonna show him off to the national news. Let's pull up his history.
We're gonna pull up his middle
Facebook,
school.
his
Trying to
middle
make
school,
sure that he
trying
looks
to-
like he deserved it.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
what did he do? Well, he should have done this. No. We're not blaming. The kid is dead. This person is dead. Now respect that. Now let's hold the person accountable for shooting an innocent life, for doing the wrong thing, because that's what it is. It's wrong. It's murder. But you want to say, oh, well, he should never. What are you talking about, fam? Like, what is that? Seriously? That's what I'm talking about, is you literally don't want to see it. You don't.
Yeah.
At all.
Carson,
Absolutely.
what's your major again? Political
I'm a
science?
psychology major.
Or psychology. What crimes are punishable by death?
Guess it depends on what state you're in.
Let's say a consensus throughout the country. Pretty general crimes that are punishable by death. Can any of you guys think of? I'd say rape, in my opinion, or that should be punishable. Maybe like child molestation, rape, murder.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't
Manslaughter.
give anything the death penalty, but that's just me.
Okay, but there are some crimes that are punishable
That
by
are,
death.
yes, in some places, yeah.
There are some crimes that are
You're right.
punishable by death. What have any of those guys who we mentioned did that was worth them being punished? That was worth them receiving the death penalty on the street without
Legally
even
nothing. I think that's
being
pretty obvious.
Convicted. People
Yeah.
who didn't even make it to jail to get tried for anything.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole cops are trained was kind of brought up, and I remember someone saying, well, cops are trained to kill. And I was just thinking, like, police officers' jobs are to keep the peace and protect. They're not soldiers. They're not. I mean, some of them might be veterans that might have come from war. They may be in the military, but they are not supposed to do that. They are not supposed to.
It's literally a last resort.
Yeah, they're not assassins.
Right.
So that's ridiculous when somebody says, well, they're trained to kill. Why? They should be trained to protect and, if necessary, defend themselves. Sure.
Right.
You don't need a gun to protect yourself. I mean,
That's what I'm
in
saying.
most situations.
You have all these things at your
You have
disposal.
a
too.
baton. You have
Yeah, they have.
Literally,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah,
hit the-
absolutely.
But that's
Absolutely.
I don't know. Like that's again, it comes to what's your mindset going in. If you're literally that scared of a person that is more scared of you are, like, my mom always tells me that bug is, more scared of you are, but I'm scared of a bug. I don't like bugs. I don't like insects. So that same thing. If I was to get pulled over by the police, if my brother was in the car with me, I'd be scared. My brother's crazy. I'd be scared if he got pulled over by the police, because I don't know. He might run into a bad cop, or he might run into somebody that's scared of him. If you are going in there with the scared mindset of what a 17-year-old could do to you, that's not the job for you. That's not the job for you.
Well said. Absolutely. I mean, and where does that fear even come from? I mean, obviously a prejudice that, they're dangerous, a 17-year-old, 16, 15,
Right.
Even the little boy who was,
the 12-year-old.
The
yeah, who
12-year-old,
was
he had,
holding
like,
a
a
BB
BB
gun
gun.
and he was shot down.
Yeah.
It was a toy gun. It wasn't even BB.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah. Just to you guys personally, what does Black Lives Matter, the movement, mean to you? What's it about to you?
Having a family, somebody who knows that everybody's sticking together.
Family?
Like
Yeah.
everything, like when it comes to African Americans, like we just want to have each other's back, basically, and knowing that you're not going through something alone, type of thing, and that society might not like us, but if we got each other, then that's really all we need. If we learn how to have each other's back, then we can change this whole world. For if we start thinking as one and not thinking against each other.
Yeah.
I'd say Black lives just matter. They don't matter more. They do not matter less. They just matter. You don't need to be tried on the street. Just give them due process of law. Treat them like you would treat anyone else.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I believe that the quote is.
I believe that Black Lives Matter is just mean unity. Just unity. It don't mean to me like in my eyes like has you not black, your lives don't matter. It just unity, like you here just like I'm here, like you was born here, I was born here. Even if I'm not born here, I'm still here with you, like on this like land. It doesn't matter. We unity, like Black lives matter, white lives matter, albino lives matter, like everybody lives matter, but it's unity at the end of the day. That's all we want. Like you think my cousin wanna die? You think your cousin wanna die? You think like people wanna die? No. Like at the end of the day, it's unity. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. This Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
too.
Do you, just curious, do you guys see any divide among people who support some of the same issues that you guys support? Any divide amongst those who are within the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yeah, I feel like there's two ways to look at Black Lives Matter. It's either Black Lives Matter and everybody else's lives matter too, or you have the people that just look at it as only Black lives matter because y'all been putting our lives down so long, so my life only matters right now. Like, so you have those two separate people. Like, you got two different views on it.
How do you view the people who are more like, it's my turn now?
It's more of a, you have a reason to feel that way, but at the same time, you have to be a grown and adult about it. Like, it just depends on like what you believe in, and if you feel like you can place it like in a higher power hands, or if you want to take it on yourself. It just depends on who you are.
The other side that I see is the side who believes that violence and rioting is the way, or is a way to help, I don't know, raise awareness of the issue, which, and I mean,
Yeah, I know.
like that does not, like as I've already said before, that does not solve anything. If anything, it just brings more issues that are already present.
So how do you talk to those people who are within the Black Lives Matter movement, but who kind of take it the other way? How do you have those conversations?
This is where it can get divisive here, because there's like, what they said was very true. You know, some people really do believe that by rioting, by destroying property, we're gonna get somewhere. Whereas some people are more on the tactical, strategical. Okay, what can we do? Let's be peaceful. Let's talk. Let's do rallies. And you know, you have both ends fighting, butting heads with each other within the movement. You know what I'm saying? And then so you know, coons and go back to your massa and all this type of stuff is, you know, thrown left and right, and it's just like
From within the Black Lives Matter movement?
yes,
Really?
like, if because I'm on the thing of you need tact and like you said, rioting, damaging property, it does nothing. So if a person that is more on the radical side of, oh, Black Lives Matter, that's it, you know, they're gonna call me, oh, you're a coon, oh, go back to your massa. You just
Interesting.
right.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's really tough trying to talk to those people, and it's just like at the end of the day, I'm not trying to fight with you, my brother. I'm trying to rise up with you. I'm just trying to see where we can come together so we can fight what is really important, which is police brutality. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't lose sight of what we're trying to fight for, and you know, there's definitely better ways to come about certain things than just rioting, looting.
So it's kind of hard to have conversations with the people who are coming more from a very radical mindset.
Most definitely. And one thing, you just won't agree. You will not agree with everyone.
Yeah.
But I'd say if you actually want to make a change and you know that the change is going to come from higher up, be the higher up. Join your city council.
Absolutely.
Petition your governor. There are things you can do to get your voice heard in a way that will actually get it heard, instead of, Because if you say all this stuff and then I see you mess up your community, one, do I want to spend the city's money to help invest back into that space? And two, if I was not really sure about your issue, would I really be interested in hearing your issue out after I see you just destroyed your neighborhood because of this? Would I really be interested in that?
True. So last couple questions, and then I'll let you guys go. What are your guys' solutions? What have you thought about in terms of changing police brutality?
I think the only way to really have a solution is sticking together. I feel like it wouldn't be police brutality in communities if police knew what communities they were in. Like when you get to know the community and people in the community, you learn how to talk to people. So if someone's in trouble, you don't have to pull a gun out. You could say, hey, you can actually say his name because you know him because you spend time in that community. Getting to know people in the community, they're not going to mess up community or act a fool if they know you. Like, just getting to know, like, I feel like that's the biggest thing. If all those policemen knew the people that they shot and knew their background, they would have never got shot.
Yeah.
They could have talked to them from another place because
That's a great
they
point.
knew them.
Yeah.
So it's all about communication skills, learning how to talk to people. Why are you gonna go into something if you don't know how to speak to someone? Like,
Yeah.
that's all about communication.
So training police officers to just get involved in
Don't put them
the people
in a
they
community
protect.
that they're scared to be in. Why are
Yeah.
you gonna put them somewhere that they're scared to be in? Put them somewhere where they know the people, where they don't gotta be scared, where they can say, "Oh, that's my bro," or "That's my friend." Like you can call, even vice versa. Like if something's going on in the community, they don't have to call 911. They can call that police officer just because the police officer knows the area. It's just little things like that that could make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you guys' solutions, or what have you been thinking about lately?
I say just
How to
like
fix it.
going off of like it have to start inside the like police department. Like it has to like it got to start in that. Even if like they don't give like live ammunition, like understand like you can call backup to bring a live ammunition. You can get bean bags or something out of the gun. I don't know. You know, with a bean bag or something, and throw a rock at them or something.
There's pellets.
Yeah, like they got like they do that in like riots and prison all the time. They don't shoot real ammo in there.
So just
You know,
changing
like-
the ammunition, the weaponry.
like you can call for backup. You know,
Like why should a man determine another man's life? You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
I definitely think it does have to start within, the police themselves. And also, I don't want to necessarily play like devil's advocate or anything, but I also do believe just as Black people, I feel like there's a certain stigma of us just, not trusting police officers in general. And I just feel like not just, the police officers taking a stance to, getting to know outside of their own communities, but us in the Black community being comfortable and having conversations with police officers so that stigma, in time goes away of, oh no, don't trust the police. Oh, the police is here. No,
Okay.
I'm cool off of that. So that there's more trust built on both sides.
So you're saying it's like a two-way street,
Pretty
with the
much,
trust and the
yeah.
communication. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
I think it's gonna take the wrong police officer to kill the wrong person, and for them to end up in jail. Because I was just thinking about when you join the police. When I joined WPD, I am protecting Tallgrass. I'm protecting Beacon Hill. I'm protecting College Hill. But I'm also protecting 21st and Grove. I'm protecting 9th and Central. I'm protecting all those areas. That's what I signed up for when I signed my name on the dotted line. Yes, you might have your preferred area, but as a police officer, your duty is to serve everyone, not just
Every
those who you
area.
are comfortable with.
Okay.
And it's I
So do you think it can be fixed? Do you
So-
think
so-
it can be?
So this is what I'm
Solved.
saying with that. You don't hear about white teenagers who are crazy getting killed by police officers. Not saying that it does not happen sometimes, but when was the last time we had a march for a unarmed white kid who, I don't know, maybe was a little mouthy to a police officer, and the police officer got defensive and was scared for his life, and the police officer killed the white teenager. Then we pulled up his, I don't know, MySpace and Facebook history from 5 years ago, saw that he threw the middle finger up, or I don't know, somebody saw him smoking a Rillo. We don't see that. So when you sign up for the police force, you sign up to protect everyone. I was thinking we should redo training, but we shouldn't have to redo training because it doesn't happen to white people. It's going to take the wrong one for some of them to realize that, hey, maybe even as a good police officer, I need to go into this situation with a little bit more precautionary skills so that no one gets hurt, or at least we can attempt for no one to get hurt and we can have the most successful outcome.
Yeah. Very good. Would you guys like to tell those who are listening how they can get involved in BSU, where to find you guys?
Yeah, Black Student Union is every Thursday in Heather Hall Shelter Room. It's at 7:30. We're just gonna be talking about this semester how we can fundraise and get involved, so we can go to our Big 12 conference in Texas. So yeah, just stop by. Also, you can reach me on Instagram at beautiful underscore bowls on Instagram. So if you have any questions, you can always just DM me.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you everybody who came to join me tonight. Remember to tune in to KFHS Radio every Sunday night. This is Coalition M signing out.